Hi. So, I've been receiving a lot of questions regarding what is it that students at different scores should be looking at doing over the course of the last few days before CAT 2023. So, I decided to go ahead and create a video which will go ahead and appeal to everybody writing this exam. So, the way I'm going to structure this video is obviously first we have 3 sections. So, I'll start off with Quant, follow it up with DILR, end with VARC. So, the reverse of the actual paper. Okay. Main reason, most of the questions that I've been getting or most of the worried messages and WhatsApp that I've been getting have been from people who are slightly worried about quant and whether they're doing enough to clear the sectional percentiles or cutoffs, and also how they can increase their percentiles and so on and so forth. So that's the first part. Second, for each of these sections, I'm going to go ahead and break it up into 2 parts. Number 1, milestones that you should be looking at in terms of scores or percentiles depending on the section and depending on who you are. And second, how to go from one milestone to the other. So these are the 2 specific parts that I'm going to refer to. Okay. So without wasting much more time, let's officially go ahead and get started, and let's see what are the few things that you can do and what is the kind of mindset that you should have in order to ensure that you do very well and put your best foot forward on 26th of November. First and foremost, let's start off with quant. Now in quant, the first thing that I want you to keep in mind is what are the different milestones. Over the last 2 years, now 2 years means CAT 21 and CAT 22. 22 was slightly tougher than 21. So over the last 2 years, a score of roughly about 12. Now this 12 is a normalized score obviously. So if say hypothetically your slot is easier, then that 12 might become 14, and your slot is tougher, then that 12 might become 10 as well. So the way I would like you to look at it is 4 to 5 questions is milestone 1. That should suffice to get an 80 percentile, which means you're clearing the sectional cutoff in quant for all colleges other than probably Lucknow, which looks at 85. So for Lucknow, add 1 question. Okay, that's milestone 1. Milestone 2 is looking at close to about a 90 percentile. That's roughly about 17 to 18 marks. Add a buffer of about 2 marks plus minus depending on normalization and level of difficulty. So you can keep 6 to 7 questions. Milestone 3, I'll jump to a 95. You can look at somewhere around 25-26 marks roughly. That means 8 to 9 questions. And finally the 4th milestone, which is going to be 99 percentile, look at somewhere in the vicinity of about 34 to 35. Look at 11 to 12 questions. So these are your 4 milestones. Now for each of these milestones, you know where you are. Either you are below milestone 1, that means you still not reached a situation of 11, 12. So then your goal is, how do I get to milestone 1? Kaise 11 to 12 marks aayenge? So focus on that. If you're already at that vicinity of about 12 marks, 13 marks, your goal is milestone 2. How do I go to 18, 19? Kaise 6 to 7 questions honge? And similarly for the other milestones. Okay. So let's look at, if I am not reaching milestone 1, that means on an average, I am scoring less than say 11 to 12 marks. Now, that means you're not being able to solve about 4 or 5 questions, right? 22 questions hai, you have to do 4 or 5. The main reason for this is you are not clear in your mind that your goal is 4 to 5 questions. मेरे को करने खाली 4-5 है. आप aim कर रहे हो, you are thinking that I will go ahead and attempt 6, 8, 10, 12 questions. And while you are aiming to do that, either you are attempting that many and making a lot of mistakes, 50-60% error rate, or you are starting off, you pick a wrong question, you spend 4 or 5 minutes, then you say no, stop midway, move to the next, stop midway, move to, and you do this in 4 or 5 questions, then lose 18 to 20 minutes. Don't do either of them. First and foremost, be very clear that the goal for me in this exam is 4 to 5 questions. Okay? The moment you are clear that that is my goal, automatically now you will not stop midway when you pick up a question. You know suddenly you have 8 to 10 minutes per question, right? If I have 5 questions that I need to do, that's 8 minutes in a 40-minute paper. There are 6 questions I need to do, that is still roughly about 6.5-7 minutes. So think of it from that perspective. So the first thing you should do is know which are the topics that you're comfortable with. You might not be comfortable with entire arithmetic. हो सकता है percentages you like. हो सकता है you like time and work. हो सकता है you like ratios but not mixtures. हो सकता है you like quadratic equation but you don't like functions. हो सकता है you like triangles but you don't like circles, you don't like polygons. From the topics that you like, look at the 22 questions and see where are those questions from those topics. Start there. Just aim to attempt those 4 or 5 questions and you are done. You know I've cleared the sectional percentile. That means मेरे को 5-6 पे focus रखना है. Clear? That's all that you need to do. For milestone 2, I am suddenly looking at 6 to 7 questions. So one step ahead. You are already doing 4, 5, you need 6, 7. That means you need 1 to 2 questions more. So those of you moving from milestone 1 to milestone 2, generally, you will be attempting 6, 7 questions in milestone 1, getting 5 right, 1 wrong, or getting 4 right, 2 wrong, something like that, right? If you get a theta wrong, 4 right, 1 wrong, it will become 11. 4 right, 1 norm, MCQ wrong, 1 theta wrong, 11, close to an 80 percentile. If you're already in that vicinity, from milestone 1 to milestone 2 is almost about accuracy. You don't even need to attempt more. That means the questions that you attempted, you have time to go ahead and revise. Don't look at attempting 10. Be happy with an attempt of 6, 7, revise, ensure no errors there. That's one. The second thing that you can go ahead and do is, you can go ahead and look at this point in time, which are the topics from which a lot of questions come. For example, time, speed, distance and time on work combined over the last 2 years, there are roughly about 3-4 questions that come. Entire geometry se 3-4 question aate hain. Entire geometry 3-4. So what does that mean? If you're not good at geometry, leave it. Just focus on time, speed, distance, time and work. So do that analysis. Look at my video, the strategy, smart techniques to crack quant. The video would be available. The link would be available here and it will be available in the pinned comments. Go ahead and look at that video. That video specifically goes ahead and talks about, how you can go ahead and get up to 90 percentile, which means solve 6, 7 questions without even knowing quant, with only knowing basics of mathematics that you did till class 7, 8. So that is something that might help you. That will help you add that 1 or 2 questions. Okay. The third milestone, moving to a 95 percentile. Now here you need to be good. That means you need to know that arithmetic and algebra will generally have about 14 questions, right? Out of 22. That's roughly about 70% of the paper, 65 to 70%. Now you are looking at a score of roughly about 25 to 27, 8 to 9 questions you're looking at. There are 2 ways of looking at it. One, I will attempt 12, get about 2 wrong, so 10 right, 2 wrong, I'm there. Second, I will attempt 9 but 100% accuracy. Second is slightly riskier because you don't know. Accuracy game might work, might not work. But either which way, if you're looking at just 10, 12, all you need to do is attempt 80% of the questions that come from arithmetic and algebra. Now, 14 ka 80% karoge, that's about 10, 11 questions. From the other topics, you need just 1, 2. So arithmetic and algebra is where you need to brush up. Something I've been talking about for a long time, right? Iske andar, if there are certain parts, for example, you feel mere se SICI nahi hota, leave that one topic. Don't worry about it. Can I compensate it with just triangles? Can I compensate it with polygons? Now polygons is all closed figures, 4-sided, 5-sided, 6-sided, all of them. If you can, just compensate that. Okay. So that's the way to look at it. Similarly, say in algebra, you come out and say, mujhse functions nahi hota. Can you compensate it with numbers, properties of numbers? Can you compensate it with the unit digit? Something like that. You might not need to get into, remainders. Not a lot of questions come from there these days. Base system, not a lot of questions come from there. But within the topics or within the sections or subsections which are looking at numbers, geometry, modern math, where not a lot of questions come, can you identify the topics which are important so that you can substitute topics from arithmetic algebra which you are not comfortable with, which you are slightly afraid of, you can substitute them by these topics in these 3 subsections. That's the way to get there. And finally, for those moving from 95 to 99, once again I will say, refer to the video of the strategies to crack quant. I think I took this session sometime in the beginning of November, probably somewhere in the vicinity of about 3rd November. You can check out the video on YouTube. It will be there in the pinned comments as well. Check that video out. Why am I saying that? Because 95 to 99 generally means reducing 1 or 2 errors, or it means attempting 2 more questions, right? I'm taking 26, 27, so you need to go to 33, 34. You're looking at 6 to 8 marks. 2 questions you were getting wrong, you get right, that's 8 marks. 2 additional questions you attempt, that's 6 marks. So its vicinity is that. So generally, are there few questions that you could have attempted in a smarter way and you could have ensured that the time at your disposal suddenly increases? So that is one thing. That video will go ahead and help you. Second, those who are in that 99 percentile vicinity, you should not be in the boat where you turn around and state, I will leave subsections. Okay. Now, so if you have already not gone ahead and done geometry or numbers or modern math, now is the time to at least look at the basics. Look at the pre-recorded videos on the BYJU'S exam prep app. We've gone ahead and recorded that. There are 8, 10, 12 videos for each of these sections. Look at that. They'll cover the basics. They'll tell you what are the important topics to look at. Solve a few practice questions from the topic tests, and you should be good to go to get that 1 to 2 additional questions. So these are the two things you need to keep in mind when it comes to quant and when it comes to ensuring you get to milestone 4. So I'm hoping this helps everybody who's stuck somewhere or the other when it comes to QA, and you get to your milestone, whether it's 1, 2, 3 or 4, and you keep improving. So that's what you need to look at. Now let's go ahead and move to DILR. Similar milestones is what we will start off with. In DILR, 80 percentile, once again the cutoff that we talk about is roughly around 15. You can look at a score of roughly about 19 to 20, which means about 6-7 questions for a 90 percentile. About 25-26, that's about 8 to 9 questions for a 95 percentile. About 33 to 34 to get to about 99 percentile. So that's predominantly what I'm looking at. So the first one, which is milestone 1, which is 15. Now this milestone predominantly is about one set, right? So the general problem for people who are not reaching this one set or people who are in this milestone vicinity is that you get worried. You start thinking, nahi, mere ko to 2 sets karne hai, I have to do 3. So you're not giving your complete attention to that one set. You not realizing you have 40 minutes for that one set. You don't need to jump from one set to the other. You can just sit on that one set for 30-35 minutes and you're done. You're sorted. You get your sectional cutoff. So the only thing that I will tell you is judiciously use your time at the beginning to identify which is that set that you want to start with. And you might not pick out the right set. That is absolutely okay. The sets in CAT are constructed in such a way that every set can be solved in about 10 to 15 minutes, right? And you are smart enough to solve it if you're giving it 30 to 35 minutes, even on your off day, right? And I'm quite confident of that. You need to be confident of that. You need to keep telling yourself that you are here, you are sitting here, you are writing this paper because you have a certain level of intelligence, because you have a certain level of capability, and that is why you're here. So it's more a game of confidence and not backing yourself, which is why you generally don't get to that first milestone. So all that you need to do is be patient. Tell yourself all I need to do is one set, and 30 minutes, 40 minutes is okay. So even from now till CAT, if every day you can just practice doing one set in about half an hour across topics, you'll be good to go. That's all that you need to worry about. For milestone 2, which is roughly just getting 2 more questions in the next set, getting to 6 to 7 questions, all that you need to do, and I would generally state that milestone 2 and 3 generally go hand in hand for me, but what you can do is first try and identify which are the important topics from which sets almost always come. We know arrangements always come. We know matrices always come. We know games and tournaments generally always come. We know arithmetic or number based or quant based sets always come. We know at least one DI set will come, whether it's a pie chart, whether it's line, whether it's bar, whether it's radar, whether it's a spider chart, something or the other. Look at the last 3-4 years papers, right? And you will identify that. So all that you generally need to do is it possible that I can go ahead and practice these topics? And once again, doing 2 sets means you have 20 minutes per set. You have enough time. So all that you need to go ahead and do, and keep in mind, if you do 2 sets, it's 30 marks, right? You do 2 sets, you're getting 30 marks. That means you're actually in the vicinity of 97, 98 percentile. We are talking about milestone 2, which is only 18. So you need to do 1 to 2 questions. You do 1 to 2 questions of the second set, you're there. So for milestone 2, I'm not saying you have to solve the entire. Please keep that in mind. That means first set you did in 26, 27 minutes. Second set you read and understood in 5-6 minutes. In the next 7-8 minutes, you need to do 1 to 2 questions and you hit your milestone 2. And similarly for those in milestone 3, you need to do roughly what? 3 questions from this new set, from the second set. Because 5 plus 3 is 8 questions, 24, and you're hitting close to a 95 percentile. So look at it from that perspective. That one, I want to go ahead and identify and be confident of the fact that one set can surely happen, and you're already doing that. All now you need to do is you're probably solving that one set in about 25 minutes or 27 minutes, but you're wasting the last 10-15 minutes because you're picking up a wrong set, or you're not confident enough, or you're thinking, oh, I need to do the full set, but you don't need to. You just need to do 2 to 3 questions. So can I do 2-3 questions very, very seriously? Can I look at them and do it properly? That's all. That's the second. Another way of looking at it is, which I would not recommend to everybody, but this is another way of looking at milestone 2 or 3 is, you might realize that, I am unable to do 2 sets, but I am able to solve probably 2 to 3 questions across 3 sets or 2 questions across 4 sets. Does not generally happen. Does not generally. But you might be one of those who feels more comfortable that I'll get into every set and every set I'll do 2 questions. And I feel more comfortable. If you are one of those, that works as well. But this is a very outlandish strategy, not for everybody, but I'm just calling it out because few of you will do it. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so that is something that you can do. For the last part, which is getting 33, you're basically just over 2 sets. So first, what you need to do is ensure when you do 2 sets, you do it very, very seriously. Okay, you do 2 sets comfortably. If you're able to spend 15 minutes on a set, do 2 sets comfortably, revise them, ensure there is no error, 30 marks in my pocket, then the next 2 sets that you have, you will generally see that in one of those 2 sets, there is 1 question or 2 questions which are very simple to do. You just need to attempt that 1 or 2 questions. And the remaining questions which are theta, you can go ahead and guess. Now, I really like to look at DILR, the theta questions, so that in those theta questions, if there are questions, for example, say there is a game and tournament question wherein they are talking about 5 rounds and they ask you in which round did Rahul beat Rinki, hypothetically. And you know that Rahul versus Rinki could be either round 2, 3 or 4, hypothetically. Now you know the answer is either 2, 3 or 4. In such a case, when you know it's either 2, 3 or 4, theta becomes much easier, right? 1/3 probability of getting it right, which is not too bad. So I would want to take a guess here. I would want to go ahead and say 2, 3 or 4. These are the kind of theta questions which if you miss out on answering, a good probability of 33% or 50% you're actually missing out. And 1 or 2 of these theta, if they click for you, you're actually looking at 3 to 6 additional marks. So be careful on that front that works in your favor. Also for those in the last vicinity, which means looking at that 99 percentile, you are already one of those who are solving 2 sets. Okay, generally you would realize 2 sets karke I'm doing the third as well, but I'm making a few errors. That means I'm in 26, 27 mark vicinity because I've attempted, say probably 12, 13 questions, but I got 10 right and 3 wrong. What if I change this, 13 question attempts suddenly changes to an 11 question attempt, but all right, which means you give yourself some more time to revise what you answer. Accuracy in DILR is very important irrespective of milestone. This is a place where other than the theta guesses, all the other questions you attempt, you need to be looking at 90 to 100% accuracy because you're spending time to do that. Nobody is asking you to solve 3 complete sets or 4 complete sets. So ensure you are giving yourself enough time to revise what you've done. That is very important. Okay, that's the last part for DILR. And now let's quickly move to the last section, which will actually be a first section in CAT, which is VARC. Now, in VARC, once again, if we look at milestones, an 80 percentile generally will be in the vicinity of roughly about 18 to 20 marks. If you're getting to about 20, 21, it will happen. That means about 7 questions. Second, when you're looking at about say 90 percentile, you should be in the vicinity of roughly about 30 marks. And finally, if you're going to about 99 percentile, you need to be in the vicinity of about 38, 39 marks. Maybe 40 marks, 40, 41 bhi ja sakta hai. So I will say, let's say 13 to 14 questions for, net correct for 99, about 10 net correct for about 90, and about 7 net correct for about 80. 85 obviously is in between, about 8 to 9 net correct. Okay? These are your milestones. Now, for those of you who are not hitting milestone 1, right, you're not getting 80%, you're not getting 7, 8 net correct. First and foremost, for you, do not consider this to be a 24 question paper. It's not a 24 question paper. You can consider it to be a 12 question paper. Okay. In a 12 question paper, can I get 8 right and 4 wrong? Can I go at an accuracy of 66%, 66.66? Can I do that? 8 right, 4 wrong in a 12 question paper. How do I do that? I will say, I will look at 3 RCs. Each of those RCs is say taking me 10 to 11 minutes. 3 RCs is 12 questions. I will look at getting about 8, 9 right and 3 wrong. Say you get 8 right and 4 wrong. Let's assume you get that. So you are already 8 right and 4 wrong. You are already at 20 marks. If you are attempting 12, you are done. You are at 20. You almost hit the cutoff. Say you can't do that. So you attempt only 10. 2 questions you couldn't attempt. In those 10, can you get right 7 right and say 2 wrong or 3 wrong? So 7 right and 3 wrong means 18 marks. Now, first and foremost, I want you to go ahead and look at the para completion, which is the fill in the blanks. One line is given, passage is given. After every line in the passage, there is a blank, A, then B, then C, then D, and it tells you the line that was given right up front is, will it come in the position A, in position B, in position C, position D? That's the question that comes. These two questions are the easiest questions according to me in the entire 66 question paper. Because all you need to do is pick that line, put it in position A, read the line before that, read line A, which is the first line, and then read the next line. Is there a continuity? If no, that's wrong. Put it in B, line before, the line after. Continuity, that's the answer, no, then wrong, and move ahead. It's almost like cheating. You'll be able to do that with ease. These two questions you need to get. Parajumbles, don't worry too much. Parajumbles, leave, don't look at seriously. Critical reasoning for milestone 1, don't look at seriously. For milestone 1, can I do 3 RCs, जिसमें I will attempt only 10 questions, 7 right, 3 wrong. Okay, so just look at it from that perspective. Now each RC, I'm giving myself about 10-11 minutes. Each para completion, I'll give myself 2 to 2.5 minutes. So 5 minutes. 5 minutes for para completion, 35 minutes for RCs. I need to get my 7-8 net correct. That's all that you need to look at. Change the game for yourself. Don't waste time on PJ. Don't waste time on critical reasoning, which is para summary. For those of you moving to milestone 2, you don't need to change a lot. I will still say stick to this. Stick to 3 RCs. Now in these 3 RCs, 12 questions, can you change it to 9 right and 3 wrong instead of 7 right and 3 wrong in 10? You should be one of those who attempts all 12, 9 right, 3 wrong. That's the part that you're changing. So you're still sticking to this. For you, it is still that same game, 14-15 question game. But 9 right, 3 wrong means you're suddenly 24 here. And the 2 questions, if you get correct in para completion, you go ahead and hit 30, which is guaranteed you're hitting 90 percentile. Okay, 85 meaning you're hitting 90. That's the way to look at it. So you are not changing the game at all. You're still in the 3 RCs to para completion game. Now, one thing which I will add, which goes in all the milestone 1, 2, and even in the final is para jumbles, randomly just guess something. I always go ahead and state I like to answer 4-2-1-3 and 4-1-2-3. These 2 options I generally like to put. I feel that one of these 2 generally works out for me. So 4-2-1-3, 4-1-2-3. 3 questions are there. Attempt this. 2 में 4-1-2-3 डाल दो, एक में 4-2-1-3 or the reverse or something. If it clicks, great. You get free marks. Okay? That part keep. Let's talk about the last milestone. I need a 99. That means I need to get to 40 or above. Now 40 or above, right? For you, the game is very, very simple. You have to attempt everything, right? You are attempting 24 questions. Now 24 questions में, say I get 16 right and I get 8 wrong. 16 right and say all 8 wrong are MCQ, you still get 40, right? 48 minus 8, you are at 40. Now obviously some of them will be theta. I'm guessing at least one of them will be a parajumble. Getting 3 parajumble theta correct is not going to be easy, right? So generally your marks will come up. So for you, the name of the game is, I think, attempts, because even if your accuracy hovers somewhere around the 70% mark, 24 questions, you do 70, you'll get 16, 17, right? You've done quite well. So even if your accuracy is about 67 to 70%, you're still going to do quite well for yourself, right? Because if it's 2/3, which is same as 66.67, like I stated in milestone 1, you'll get 16 right, 8 wrong, and you're hitting your goal. So that's one. Number 2, for all of you who want to get into that vicinity of 99, I think one thing that you all might be missing out on is you all have probably not read enough. So do spend a little bit of time reading across genres. Now I know it's too late in the season, it's close to CAT, but even now nothing will go to waste. You have a few days, read. Get into the flow of reading even before your CAT paper starts. Read the instructions so that your mind has started operating. Your mind is getting into the mode of comprehension. And when that CAT paper starts, once you've read, then come here. Then start your paper so that you already have a 2-minute head start as compared to others. Do that. It's very, very important. Okay. Another thing and final thing which I will state is those in milestone, the last milestone 3, critical reasoning, which is going ahead and identifying what would be the summary of the passage, is where you can easily go ahead and score. Now 8 questions that come in verbal, out of those 8 questions, 3 are parajumble. The other 5 questions, there is no reason you don't get 4 right and 1 wrong. If you get 4 right, 1 wrong here, you're getting 11 marks. In parajumbles, even if you get 1 right, that's 14 marks. If you can get 14 marks here, all you're looking for RCs is about 27, 28. That means in 16 attempts, if you get 11 right and 5 wrong, you're still getting there. So to all of those looking at that 99 percentile, you're probably missing out on verbal. RCs, you might be operating at 65-70%, but verbal is where you're missing out. Ensure you get that. Verbal, factual questions of RCs, out of 16 questions, 4 or 5 will be factual. Those 4 or 5 questions should fetch you your 12 marks. Verbal should fetch you your 14 marks. 26 marks is factual questions of RC, which is copy paste from passage, and verbal. The remaining 15-16 comes from the rest. And the last thing, which is important for milestone 1, 2 and 3 for everybody, especially milestone 1 and 2, is spend enough time reading. If you are giving yourself 10 to 11 minutes per RC, you can spend 6 to 7 minutes reading, 4 to 5 minutes answering. When you do that, you will not need to keep flipping, going from the question to the passage, question to the passage, question to the passage. That needs to reduce. If out of the 4 questions, you don't need to do that in 2 questions, then you can answer it through memory, you are sorted. That means 8 questions you are answering through memory because you gave yourself enough time to read. So going back and coming back, those 8 questions, even if you were spending say 30 to 40 seconds per question, you're suddenly saving roughly about 320 to 350 seconds. 5 minutes roughly you are saving. Do that for your own self, right? 40 seconds into 8 questions is 320. Save that. Save those 5 minutes and that will help you later. So that's it. I hope all of this invigorates you. All of this helps you understand what milestone you are at currently, how to move from your milestone to the next one, and just be very confident of your ability. Know that you're one of the good ones. That's why you're here. That's why you're looking at this video, because you're serious. You're not just going to be one of those who are attempting CAT for the sake of it. Like I always state, 70 percentile in CAT last few years has been just at 36 marks or lesser. All of you, if I give you 2 hours, will score that even without preparation. You'll probably get a 45, 50. Why? Because in every section, all you will need is 15 and you'll get that. Because there'll be no time constraint. Here, you're one of the serious people. Back your ability. Tell yourself, I am a stud. I always state that. That has to be the Mamba mentality. That has to be the mentality that will get you through. Focus on these pointers. Be confident. Be calm. Be composed. Don't be nervous. Know you have more time at your disposal than you think. And I'm quite sure you'll do well. Do look at the videos I mentioned earlier. They are marked in the pinned comment. They'll hopefully help you. All the very best for CAT 23. Do join us for the post analysis and catch a video on that. I've made a short one to tell you what all we'll cover in the analysis session in CAT, and that will hopefully help you, give you a little bit of confidence, help you understand how CAT went and what should you be doing for the other exams. That means the OMET or the non-CAT exams, and how you can start preparing on that. Do catch that as well. All the very best. Bye-bye.